Welcome to your 30s. You're going to love it. Welcome, everyone, to Life at 30. Joining me today, I have Meredith from the Netflix show Drink Masters. Meredith, thank you so much for joining me. How are you?
I'm doing good. I've been working like crazy, running around, so I have a little bit of a strained voice, but I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
happy to be
welcome.
here.
It's
Yeah.
honestly I'm so glad to have you on the show. And we were just talking about you being 38. So
Oh yeah.
how's that? How is life at 38?
You know, I guess I never thought that I would be in this place at 38.
Uh-huh.
I feel really grateful for everything that I have. I think I have more than I've ever had in my entire life, which is crazy. Um, which isn't much, but it's important to me. Um, I don't know, approaching 40.
That's a
There's
big one.
it's
That's
a
a
big
big
one.
milestone. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
approaching 40. So, um, yeah, I guess call me in a couple of years and see how I feel about that.
We can do another interview next year and see how you're doing as you get
Right,
closer to 40. There you
right,
go.
totally.
I just want to tell you, watching you on the show was super inspiring. You are essentially the epitome of the message I want to convey in doing life at 30. I feel that a lot of people kind of think of their 30s as like a settling age. And then a lot of the times you kind of stop following your dreams, you stop striving to reach those goals, and then watching you on the show was more like, let me show you 30s are more like a stepping stone to bigger and better things. And I love that. I really did. And I absolutely love watching you on the show. How did you feel going through that experience?
It's a really good question. It was probably one of the most scariest things that I've put myself through. I never expected to be on something like that. A friend of mine asked me to be a part of it. Well, told me to just apply. She wasn't even a part of anything. Like she found out about it. She's like, "You should apply for this." And I was like, "You're crazy. I'm just a bartender. Like, come on, there's no way."
Yeah.
And it's something that I always like dreamed would be such an amazing thing, but I never thought that I would be in the place to have that opportunity.
Right. Right.
And it took a while to get there. And then once I was there, I remember sitting in front of everybody in the room, in the conference room, and seeing everybody who was in the show. And I was like, what am I doing here? I gotta get out of here.
Kind of like that surreal feeling.
Yeah, totally
Right.
surreal because I've been bartending forever. My dad started me in this industry when I was young.
Uh-huh.
And then as soon as I, could bartend, I was slinging drinks to
Yeah.
make money.
Yeah.
So at first it was just to make money because I knew how to do it. And then later it became something else. It became a passion, maybe a little bit of an obsession as
Yeah.
well, but definitely maybe a little bit of a drug, an adrenaline rush. But definitely something that I'm happy that I've dedicated my life to because I love hospitality and to be
Yeah.
able to share that, have an opportunity to share that with the world. I mean, what a dream come true, right?
And honestly, as the audience of that show, I really and like really enjoy watching that show. It is the first of its kind, I feel,
Yeah.
right? Because you have a lot of like cooking shows, baking shows, but watching mixology being taken to a whole new level, I was like, wow, this is like the way that, like, I guess you could say like bartending has evolved,
Right.
right? It's amazing to watch. So how do you feel about that evolution? The fact that like now you guys are incorporating food ingredients and different machines, with the smoke and all that stuff that like you never used to see that, right? How do you feel about that? And then also, do you feel like it has kind of like sparked like a new creativity level within you?
Yeah. So to see, bartending for me became very culinary.
Uh-huh.
And I think that that was the beginning of me really sparking my creativity and understanding that I could do what a chef did. and I wanted to do what a chef does, but I wanted to do it with the liquid that I had in front of me,
Right.
and build and grow on the knowledge that I already had. And like, how far can we take it? What can I do? What kind of weird ingredient can I use? Can I take this after making a syrup? Can I take all this fruit and do something with it, something weird with it? Can I dehydrate it and make it into, some crazy garnish? Can I freeze dry it, using liquid nitrogen and make it into something else? I mean, it like I said, a passion, an obsession. But it is exciting to see that growth, because I remember, I mean, I was bartending in the days where you had sour mix. Come on.
Yeah.
I made a killer sour mix. I poured it right out of the gun. I was so good at it. Like it was, I was part of that. And I remember seeing bartenders even just using fresh syrups, fresh juices, syrups. I had at one point, I was like, what's Campari? And now I'm like guzzling Campari down because I love it so much. And this was like, 10 years ago. And I was just so excited to see. I remember I walked into Sable, it was in Chicago, and I had a cocktail and like an appetizer there. And I was like, man, I'm never going to be able to be in a place like this.
And then now
I was slinging
you
in
were
gay
on the
nightclubs,
first season of something like this.
Yeah, it's
And
wild.
how amazing is that?
It is amazing. And showing people that, there's a lot more to bartending than just slinging drinks. Like even in a nightclub, that's a lot of work and it's a lot of hospitality. And I do like, there is this sense of like, okay, now you see how far we can go and these incredible things that we can do and these incredible ingredients, but that doesn't take away from the importance of a dive bar or a nightclub. Because at the end of the day, like, bars are community spaces. Whether you're doing some crazy nitrogen smoked crazy cocktail, or you're just like serving a really good old fashioned,
Right.
that's classic. Like, you're really there to just hang out with your people.
Right.
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 So at the end of
The
the
drinks
day,
are just kind of like the cherry on top to like a good conversation, good company, at the end of the day, you just have like an awesome drink to go along with awesome friends.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So going back to your experience, you mentioned that you started very young. You started bartending very young. So kind of like walk me through like a little bit of, the timeline. When exactly did you start? How did you start? And then how did you end up where you are now?
Well, yeah, you meant to pour yourself a drink. It's a story. Just kidding. My dad was a general manager of a country club. He had moved us all over around where I'm from, Long Island originally, but then we moved to the South. So we were in South Carolina at the time.
Okay.
And really weird. I don't want to, who's not for me. So
okay. We'll just leave it at that.
We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, and, I can imagine.
Yeah, as soon as I could get out, I got out.
Yeah.
But I was working at the country club and I was just doing it first, like he was just having me paint like the walls and stuff. And then I was like, I want to do what my brothers do, and I remember him being like, oh, you're not ready for that. Right. And I was like, okay. And then eventually I started serving. I started working the banquets. I kind of proved myself to my dad, and I had to prove myself. He didn't just like hand it to me, he wanted to see that I was going to do a good job, because he put a lot of, I have to say I get a lot of work ethic from my father. And he instilled that in me because he's a really hard worker.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, my mom's a really hard worker too. It was just in that industry. I mean, all the women in my family are incredible. But my dad, just like very specifically, I just remember seeing him work at the club while I was working there. And I'm just taking it very seriously. Like, sometimes I think too seriously. But I started working at the pool. So I was wearing the green collared shirts.
Yeah, the dream job at that age, I suppose.
Working on to the lifeguards, of course they were way cooler, and I'm like picking up, serving SpongeBob pops to the kids and making pre-made Island Oasis daiquiris and pina coladas for the moms who were just hanging around.
You were serving the fun.
I was
Okay.
serving, you're right. I
You
was
were serving the
fun.
fun.
You're
Yes.
right. Thank you.
Look, nobody was looking at the lifeguard is when nobody was calling lifeguard over here. No, they were looking for you.
No, that's true.
Exactly.
That's true. And at the time there were mini bottles. There were mini bottles in that, so there weren't full bottles. It was a very strange thing. In South Carolina, if you were bartending in like the 90s and the 2000s, I think it wasn't only until maybe 2008 that they finally got like full bottles behind
full
their
size.
Like,
just let them have it. I don't want to have to keep running back to the bar.
Yeah, it's just
let them have a full
bottles. You just kept, that's how you're pouring drinks. It's very strange. So it's like I really didn't learn how to bartend there. But I did learn from this guy, Dane, who was the bartender, and I was serving the cigar lounge. I was cocktail serving. I felt very, very important.
Yeah.
And Dane, he was bartending, and he said, I was actually extraordinarily nervous, to be fair. And he said to me, you know, Meredith, if there's one thing that I can teach you about what we do is that, you know, just remember the face to the drink. You don't have to remember their name necessarily, but just remember the face to the drink. And I never forgot that. And as time passed on, like I moved to Chicago and I started slinging beers at an Irish pub called the Globe. I sat there one day, my friend Corey was bartending and I was trying to look for jobs. And the owner, Jamie, he's like, Meredith, Corey says you can bartend. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, get behind the bar. We need you. And I was like, I'm drunk. And he was like, we're all drunk here. Get behind the bar. And then I worked there for 2 years.
And there you go.
And there you go.
And now we're here.
Now we're here. Yeah. And then, and then nightclubs and stuff. And yeah, but the thing is that hospitality, I never forgot it. Every time I had a regular walk in the door, I had their drink ready to go. I saw them, I made their drink and I put it down.
Now, let me ask you, do you think that you are good at kind of like reading people and what they like in a drink? Because we're going to test your skills right now.
I do love that. I do love doing that.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Okay. So me.
Okay.
What do you think I like? What kind of drink would you say I would order?
That you would order? Oh, man. See, I kind of got to get a feel. All right, let's think. You're a Virgo.
There you go.
I mean, like, if you were walking into, I have to ask questions. Can I ask questions or I just need to guess?
Important questions. Okay.
I think you're fairly you like the same thing for sure.
Yes.
You don't like to change things up. You like to keep it pretty much the same. You go to your comfortable go-tos.
Yep.
Right?
Got one right. There you go.
Okay. All right.
We're on a roll here.
Are you a fan of lighter spirits or darker spirits?
Lighter.
You're a fan of a lighter spirit.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
All right. I'm going to say, let's see. Do you like things that are a little sweeter or a little more tart?
Well, see, now I'm giving it away.
Okay.
I feel like I'm giving it away.
Do you like a daiquiri? Like a really classic daiquiri? You might like a daiquiri.
So my go-tos are like fruity cocktails.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything, pina coladas.
Got it.
Mai Tais, tequila sunrise.
All right.
Even like the Moscato, because like the wine is sweet. I don't like wine that is like bitter.
Yeah.
So anything sweet.
You like sweet.
I'm there. Pour me a sweet drink.
Pina colada, painkiller. Yeah. Or you could do a daiquiri.
Yeah. I could get down with the daiquiri.
I was getting in there.
Yeah. Right. You are. Well done. You passed the test. Well done. So I understand also that you are a co-owner of Platypus Bar, right? Yes. So tell me about that. When did you start that? And kind of like, what is the atmosphere of the bar?
So Platypus came in an interesting time, like during the pandemic, the pan-seared salmon that we all went through.
Yeah.
And you know, I befriended a gentleman who is now like a really good friend of mine. His name's Tony Saputo. Before the pandemic, when I moved to St. Louis, which was only 4 years ago from Chicago, and I was a beverage director of this big hotel, and it really took the life out of me. And I realized, in that time that we got to like chill out,
Like really like think,
and think,
not be running around and actually
right?
like sit down and like think. Yeah.
Exactly. And be slightly, a little fearful also of what the
Yeah,
future may hold, and
of course.
what it is to, have that timeline. And um Tony and he was also a beverage director, and he has a very similar background to me, bartending his entire life. And he was like, let's just do it. Let's have our own place. It's been our dream forever. So let's go. Let's make our dream happen. And then we just jumped. We just went for it.
How has that
Scared.
been? I mean, because you started this in your 30s, and I'm gonna tell you my experience. I'm
Yeah.
37. I'm gonna tell you, I'm in like a weird like vortex where like I miss my old young self, but then I'm also kind of like really like prepping for like retirement and make sure that my future is set. And I'm like in this
Yeah.
vortex, right? I'm like in the
Totally.
between these two worlds. So taking that leap of faith in like a decade where like a lot of things are like happening, how did that feel for you?
So scary.
Yeah.
Because it is the first time in your life when you like hit like 35 is like when you start thinking about, oh shit, I'm not unstoppable and
Yeah.
I'm not invincible. Like it
Yes.
suddenly really starts to stick. Like you're 30, you're like, okay, yeah, but, and then 35 hits and you're like, oh shit, I
Yeah.
gotta like, where's my retirement fund?
Yeah.
Where's, I gotta invest. I gotta like, what's going on? So yeah,
I
totally.
never used the word invest up until like a year ago.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
And especially as like us bartenders who like to bring the party,
Yeah.
there is definitely something inside of us that would like to stay young forever.
Of course. Of
Yeah.
course. Yeah.
Like me, now being an owner, like I sometimes try to get behind the bar, and, I'm a little more wrecked than I was when I was like running around at 30. And um yeah, I mean, some of these kids are running circles around me because they're just so fast. But I
Yeah.
work smarter, right?
Exactly. See,
Difference.
we get smarter. We get
Yeah,
smarter.
because
And
I
now
might
we
not move
know
as
the little
fast, but I'm
shortcuts
smarter.
to make life easier. That's what it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And cultivating and teaching them. I mean, really, Tony and I starting this bar, it was the scariest thing ever to like jump in to do that. But I wanted to do this before I was 40. Like
Yeah.
I knew like I wanted to own a bar before I was 40. I was like, I need to make this happen. And this was the moment.
Yeah.
This is the moment to do it. And I'm so happy because we have an incredible team. The whole concept is really taking people who just have a passion for bartending. Maybe they've done a little bit here and there. Maybe they've just done nightclubs like
Hmm.
me. Maybe they've just done dive bars, but they have a passion to go further.
Hmm.
And that's what Platypus is about. So taking people in who just have a passion for hospitality and a passion for bartending, and cultivating them and teaching them and having them learn all those little tiny tricks that that nobody taught me, that I
Right.
just had to learn along the way.
Along the way. Right.
Right. So I'm like,
Right.
here, I'm just going to try and give you like this giant wealth of knowledge that I have, and like
And
take
you're
it and
getting
run with
paid
it.
for it. So
Yeah.
you're welcome.
And
Oh,
we have a full staff, and so on Mondays, like we tend to, people ask me to come in and stage, and we can't pay them anything because they want to like work with us. But I was like, you can come in and stage and learn for free and hang out. And
yeah.
then when you're done, have a drink on us. And they're basically working for the night, but
Yeah.
also learning how we do everything.
Right. Right. So not only is it a bar, but also kind of like a school
Yeah.
for the up and coming.
Yes.
I love that.
We
That's
try.
I love that.
But it's
Um,
also a bar. It's a fun bar.
oh
And
yeah.
it's wild.
nonetheless a bar. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
People
Good.
expect when they come in, because it is a cocktail bar,
Uh-huh.
but it's not a typical cocktail bar.
Okay.
It's like a metal queer bar
Oh,
with
oh,
also DJs at night,
okay.
metal bands that play, pinball machines, like,
Sounds like my kind of place, my kind of
yeah, and
bar,
then
actually.
cocktails that are not like, you get those upper echelon techniques,
Uh-huh.
but you're not paying those prices.
Right.
Like we're
Yeah.
doing affordable stuff. That's like
Awesome.
fun.
I
Yeah.
like fun, affordable. I'm there.
Yeah. It's a good time.
So you mentioned that this is something you wanted to do before you turn 40. What other things are you looking forward to accomplish before the big 40?
Oh man. Owning a home, because I don't own a home yet, you
Owning
know?
a home. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I want to. I don't know if that's gonna happen before 40. We'll
It's
see.
gonna happen.
We'll
So
see. I put
I'm
my
like
money in the
channeling all
business.
this like manifestation that I'm like trying to get into.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's gonna happen. We're gonna manifest it.
You got to manifest it. You're
You
right.
have to. Yeah.
You have to believe that it's going to happen.
Exactly. Believe
Yeah.
is the word. Exactly.
Believe. Believe.
What else do you want for the house? What else would you, in a professional way, what else would you want to achieve?
I don't know. It's key, I think it's important to keep yourself open to those things, because like it's like I don't even know what I want anymore sometimes. I
Yeah.
think that is that's going to constantly change, whether you're, I think, 20, 30, 40, 50. Because I even think back, like I was like, oh, maybe I was happier then. And I'm like, no, I wasn't. I was
Yeah.
miserable. I was a
Yeah.
mess,
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know myself.
Right.
I feel so much more comfortable now
Yep.
than I
Absolutely.
ever have. So
Absolutely.
then I can ask those hard questions, like, what do I desire for the rest of my life?
Right.
But then it's okay to be like, you know what, I don't know. I have so many ideas in my head. I want to like open another spot. I
Yeah.
want to open another spot. Like I just want to take these concepts that are just swimming in my brain, and I want to see if they work and have fun with it,
Right.
and make places for people to go to have a good time.
Yeah.
That's what satisfies me in my life.
Yeah.
Having a drink in front of somebody and watching them smile as they enjoy it, there's nothing better. So if I
That's
can
awesome.
create more of those spaces and teach like the people who are coming up, then that's all I really.
So let me ask you, what would you tell your younger self, your 20-year-old self now?
Hmm. Um, that's a really good question. I would just listen more,
Yeah.
you know, take care of your feet, get good
Yeah.
shoes. That's really
Some good
important.
ones. Yeah.
I'm wearing some real nice comfy shoes right now.
Hey man, I'm telling you, the things that you buy in your 30s, you were never thought to buy in your 20s.
Ever.
It's
Take
all
care.
comfort at this point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Take care of your skin too,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. I mean, maybe you don't need that last shot.
Yeah.
Probably don't. Yep.
Most of the time you don't.
Most of the time you don't. Um, but yeah, and also I would say like don't it's hard because as passionate as I am, I've come to more of um a kindness in how I teach people, and that's taken a really long time. I think when I was younger and excited about stuff, and that's also being in the world that we are, there's a toxicity, and you can be affected by that. And I think it's really important to not become jaded, even when you're young. It's possible to hold a lot of anger and resentment. And we didn't have a lot of money going growing up, and we weren't suffering by any means, but um, it, and also being a gay woman and queer, really, like, and moving through that and whatever that journey is, um, in this climate that we have,
Yeah.
you can hold a lot of things within you and feel resentful.
Yeah.
And I think the sooner you let that go, the better,
Yeah.
truly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I have enjoyed our conversation so much. So thank you very much.
Thank you. It was an absolute pleasure. You're such a delight. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for watching Life at 30.